Welcome everyone, Christine here on Serious Gaming with a new video on the Warcraft 3 Reforged beta, specifically how to get access to the campaign screen in the Reforged beta, which I have been able to do right here. So I have all of the campaign screens available for both Reign of Chaos and the expansion. But how do you get access to it, seeing as in the main menu you don't have access, you can't click the campaign screen? Well, the easiest way to do it, to actually get access to the screen, is to download, and there are people who have made these available, download the actual maps from Reign of Chaos or Frozen from the old version, download them, start a game, play a mission, and for instance I'll just start the first Night Elf mission over here, and win or lose, you will be taken to the menu. Now what I find interesting here is the loading screens. Now there was a patch, I don't know if the patch itself added these loading screens or if they were already there. There was a 5 GB patch. But anyway, the rise of the Naga, though the Demon Lord Archimon, the Burning Legion. But it looks very similar to what we got in Warcraft 3 and Frozen Throne. Now, there's no voice for this. You can add the voice file. There are some people who have made
justice will be
them
done
with the voice files. And there we have Maiev,
I am the blade,
Naisha, archers. Now, I don't believe cheats will work for me here, right? So cheats won't work for you if you're logged on, but you can use the editor to test the map, to load the map, test the map, and actually get things working. Now,
the guilty will suffer.
What I'm going to do is quit this mission, and by quitting the mission, it will take me back to the campaign menu, and we can see Maiev in that campaign menu, and so we have access to all of these. Now, the thing to note, however, is that this won't give you access to all of these screens. You need to unlock them. There are a couple of ways around this. For instance, you can load the final mission of the human campaign of the Scourge of Lordaeron, load that, beat it or cheat through it, load the file from Reign of Chaos, beat it one way or another, and that will give you access to Path of Damned because it's tied to a trigger. Though doing that will not give you connection between, say, the Reign of Chaos, the Eternity's End, to Frozen Throne, and you also won't be able to, I think, get access to the bonus campaign. So how do you get access to all of these campaigns? What's the easiest ways? If you're just interested, like me, in seeing how it looks. Well, for that, we actually need to open the editor, which I have right here. Now, the editor, in the editor, and this is the final mission of the Frozen Throne Night Elf campaign. In the editor, you have a trigger like this, initialization, and game set campaign to, the default one is set campaign to expansion human campaign, but you can copy, paste that trigger, and then use that, or game enable the expansion human campaign, and then enable the expansion Night Elf, and then I've added the expansion Night Elf campaign, the expansion Undead campaign, the expansion Orc campaign. And since this is a cinematic, you can just load it and test it, and it will take you into the game where the cinematic will play out. Just a moment. So, loading screen, load the cinematic as an example, and just skip it. Then you're taken to the main menu. And this by default would have only given you access to the Curse of the Blood Elves, but because of that trigger, that's what I used, I got access to all of the expansion campaigns. So, that's how you get access to it. You can't play anything in this. You do have access, you can see some of the mission names, but you can't actually click on anything. The cinematics won't load, the missions won't load, so you cannot actually play the game. You can set the difficulty, right? You can see story, normal, hard, and you can also see the campaign screen. So for the Exodus of the Horde, we get the peons, for the Scourge of Lordaeron, the footman over here. Now, what's interesting to me is that previously in the Frozen Throne campaign editor, you could actually edit quite a bit of the screen here, like colors, that kind of stuff. You could edit that on your own. I don't know how likely you'll be able to do that. For the Path of Dam, we have a Crypt Fiend over here as opposed to Kel'Thuzad. And nothing is, you can't load anything. So we got the Crypt Fiend over here. For the Invasion of KALIMDOR, we get the Grunt, as we used to. Less, in a sense, a bit less animated than we got in Reign of Cast. It seems more like a cartoon background. For the Night Elves, the Night Elf Archer, or I guess, is that Tyrande? I don't know, like in Reign of Cast, that certainly wasn't Tyrande, so I don't think that's standing for Tyrande. Then Maiev for the Sentinels campaign, and Maiev looks like she does in Warcraft 3 as opposed to World of Warcraft, where her face is covered up. It's completely covered up. Whereas here, some of it is exposed. Her mouth is exposed, and we can see her eyes. Kael'thas for the Curse of the Blood Elves. I can't even access any of these missions over here. But anyway, so Kael'thas, Legacy of the Damned, Arthas, Frostmourne, and then the founding of DUROTAR for Woodwrexham. But if you want to play, the Reign of Cast or Frozen Throne campaigns, it's a simple way. Just download them in a file, and you can load them in an editor. Though you will have to start each mission individually. You can't load a custom campaign right now in the current version of the beta. You can't load the custom campaign. That's not available. So playing custom campaigns. So for instance, in Reign of Cast, you could take the map files, put them in a custom campaign, and people have done this, mind you, and you can play them through that, but you can't do that right now in the current version of Reforged, so you'd have to go mission by mission. But what's interesting is that the missions themselves will take you, when you complete them, quit them, the missions themselves will take you to the campaign screen at this particular time. So, and I don't believe that used to happen. I think that's something recent, but I do remember seeing some videos of people being able to access the campaign screen before. Now, what's changed with the recent patch? What we get beyond that, right? So we get the classic versus Reforged button, and we can see, we can play an older version. Let me just load. Let's go with the Night Elf, actually. Why not? Arthas. So let's see how classic looks in Reforged, how that loads up. So the loading screen is the same, but yes, you can change this in a mission. So loading screen stays the same, main menu stays the same. Interesting, her avatar, like her portrait there, is not working. Like their portraits are now working, at least in a
Justice will
cinematic perspective. And like there seems to be a bit of an issue with, say, the Night Elves, for instance. Like this is just the first implementation of just being able to play in Classic. Personally, I don't understand why you would care to do something like this, with the exception of, like, say, same custom maps. But interestingly, it does give you access to the menu. Though, curiously, when I switched from Classic, it basically... So the Classic campaigns... So, okay, so the Classic campaigns are actually different. The Classic campaigns are actually different from the... Like, they're marked as being different. I mean, I guess if you want to play the Classic campaigns and if you want to play the old school version, you have access to it in Reforged. So that is something available. what I'm interested in is if we'll get access to the updated maps, but with like a classic mode. That's a question. So yeah, switching over to that. The patch also brought stability changes, and supposedly things have improved in terms of how the game runs. Though there's still plenty of bugs, plenty of issues left to deal with regards to the beta. I mean, I stand by what I said in a community post a bit ago, which is I think this is the worst beta I've ever seen from Blizzard, and I think that it's certainly something that, in a sense, they got forced into releasing because of the leaks, like the leaks that happened. They got forced into releasing it, or maybe they just don't care. I mean, I've very rarely seen such a lack of interest in marketing a game, or even a remastered version, from Blizzard Entertainment before. Like, that's just odd. So it shows you how little do they care, I guess, about it. I mean, I remember StarCraft kind of getting more attention with a remastered version there, and Reforged was supposed to be bigger, better than all of that, and yet it really hasn't ended up like that. Anyway, Costin here signing out. Thank you all for watching, and stay tuned for more.